Alright guys, welcome to our final lesson on East Asian empires. Today we'll be looking at kingdoms of Southeast Asia and Korea. So geography of Southeast Asia, you have two parts. You have Indochina, which borders China and India. And then you got islands like Sumatra, Borneo, and Java are some of the major. These areas are very warm and humid from monsoons, which causes heat to rise rather quickly, and lots of rain from winds. Okay, rivers and valleys are intersected by mountains, which creates difficult communication. And we also have lots of trade, with the Strait of Malacca and the Sunda Strait, which goes from the Indian Ocean to South China Sea. This part of Asia is very jungle type. That if you can imagine, very hot, very humid. So this is what we're looking at. So here's Indochina. All right, it borders into India and China. This area here, and then here are the islands. Okay, this is what it looks like today. All right, influence of this area. Indian. 1st century AD, Indian trading ships arrived, and Hindu and Buddhist missionaries spread the faith. Kingdoms were modeled after Indian politics, which is evident today in their religion, their languages, and their art. They also got influences from the Chinese, which were spread by migration and trade. And then they have various political influences that come from Southeast Asia, um, over mainland Southeast Asia, where they conquer or tribute. The Khmer Empire which is part of modern-day Cambodia, was established an empire by the 800s. Their empire grows because of improved rice cultivation and irrigation. Their capital is the city of Angkor, and there they built a huge city and temple complex called the Angkor Wat, which is dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. So here's what it looks like. It's a beautiful building. You ever seen the old Mortal Kombat movie? They filmed some scenes here. There's it's now a Buddhist temple attached to it. Um, as you can see with the Buddhist down here at the bottom right in their clothes. All right. And so here's what it looks like over here. All right. Island trading kingdoms. Sailendra ruled the island of Java, which is this here. With agriculture, they built the temple of Borobudur, which is of Indian influence. For 7 centuries, Srivijaya ruled the Strait of Malacca, which is this one right here. Okay, that's the Strait of Malacca. All right, Sumatra, Borneo, and Java were all ruled by the Srivijaya rule. Their wealth was based on taxing over trade, and their capital was Palembang. All right, which is right here. All right, and they became a center for Buddhist teachings. So here's what that temple looks like. It's awesome. You can see impressive architecture. Um, all right, and on the eastern coast of Indochina, we have Dai Viet, which is basically the older kingdom of Vietnam, located on the coast south of China. In the early 900s, they break away from the weakening of the Tang dynasty and formed their own independent country called the Dai Viet. It's a mix of Chinese and Vietnamese culture. The Chinese, Buddhism, and government, and from Vietnamese women, the women had more freedom. So there's kind of the differences. We also have the Lee dynasty is going to move the capital to Hanoi, where they focus on trade, agriculture, and strong central rule. So you can see here, beautiful Vietnam. All right, let's talk about Korea. This is a peninsula of the Asian mainland. This is much northern part of Asia. The summers here are very hot, but the winters are very cold, like very cold. So people describe it as only having really two seasons. It's very mountainous. There's very limited. There's not a lot of area for agriculture, yeah, but the mountains offer a barrier to Manchuria, which is north of Korea. They're isolated thanks to the mountains and the sea. Korean's culture is a combination of own and Chinese traditions, which are adapted by China, or China they adapt from China. Early controlled by various clans. In 108 BC, the Han take over and introduce centralized government, religion, Confucianism, Buddhism, and writing. Free kingdoms develop. Silla dominates and drives out Chinese. And the Silla develop a suitable writing system and produce sculptures. And then finally, we have the Koryu dynasty. In 935, Wang Khan becomes king and begins the Koryu dynasty. He creates a centralized government and civil service system. He's able to divide society by land aristocracy and the rest, and the best positions become hereditary. He produces beautiful pottery and Buddhist printing blocks. Between 1231 and the 1360s, they faced harsh Mongol occupation, where they crushed tributes. And then finally in 1392, Chosun overthrows Koryu and issues land reforms that last over 500 years. Alright, and that is it for our lesson on Southeast Asia and Korea.